Hey guys, welcome to Farm Charm Chic. I'm Emily. Today I have for you 6 Pinterest-inspired ornaments that literally anyone can make. It is part of a fun playlist that has a giveaway with it, so stay tuned. I will explain more about that later. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe, I would love if you would consider doing so. And if you do like what you see, I would love if you would give this video a thumbs up. But let's get right into the DIYs. I saw on Pinterest somebody use ornaments extremely close to these that I purchased at Walmart. Now this set is from last year, but I have seen similar sets almost identical, if not identical, this year. So I thought it would be fun to kind of see if I could do my own take on these little ornaments. So I just take one of these tags and I'm looping some jute twine through, and I'm going to thread some wooden beads on here. Now the one I saw on Pinterest had a couple of beads that were painted, so I'm going to do the same thing. So I just take a barbecue skewer, like a wooden skewer, and put a little bit of painter's tape. This works extremely well if you just have a couple beads that you don't need to use a lot of paint for, or it just needs to be kind of quick. But I just separate each of the beads with some painter's tape so it can kind of move around on the skewer. I can paint multiple colors on the same stick, but they're not going to bump into each other and share their paint colors. As you'll see here, this makes it extremely easy to get those hard to reach, like the little top portion of the bead, and then I can flip it over, and then what is the bottom of the bead then becomes the top, and then you can just kind of watch what I'm doing here and get those hard to reach areas. I love this little technique to do this and separating it with the painter's tape. Now the one I saw on Pinterest only had a couple of beads painted, so that is the route that I went, but you definitely can tailor this to your colors and your liking. If you don't like the natural beads or you don't like the painted beads, you can do it either way or do a mixture of both. So now I'm just going to thread the beads on in whatever order. I did different sizes of beads here, so I put like the larger one at the base and then kind of worked my way up to the smaller size beads. So whatever beads you have or whatever size is gonna look just fine. And then I have this cute little black and white ribbon that I had on hand, and so I'm going to use this to tie. I decided not to tie a bow. I just tie it in a little knot. I felt that that looked the best. A bow looked kind of bulky, at least with the way that I tie bows anyways. So I just tie it off and a knot at the base of the beads there at the top of the tag, and then I cut it off at an angle to make the ribbon look a little bit finished. And then I'm going to do the same thing at the top of the beads and do this exact same thing, cut it off at an angle, and then we will just go ahead and tie the twine off at the top to give it its little hanging element. Now I want to secure this knot at the top of the ornament to make sure that it doesn't like ever come untied or anything, so there are a couple of ways that you can do that. One way is to put a little dab of hot glue at the top to stop the knot from slipping. I am choosing to put a little brush in some Mod Podge and paint that all over to give a little bit of security to that knot so it won't come untied or slip. Here is the ornament all finished, hanging from my tree. I think it is absolutely darling. There were several of these little tags in that package, so you could make quite a few. This video is part of a playlist where other creators have made Pinterest-inspired DIYs for Christmas. Click that link down in my description box and you will be automatically directed to the playlist. If you answer each of the creators' secret question in their Pinterest-inspired videos, you will automatically be entered to win a Visa gift card. Keep watching so you'll hear my secret question. So I have seen these cute little felt ornaments all over Pinterest, and I thought it would be so fun to kind of make my own using this little element from these stockings that come from Dollar Tree. So I'm just going to rip off so easily, but do be careful because you don't want to rip the snowflake itself. So I take both of those off, and then I'm going to use a Dollar Tree sack to use as my stuffing for this. Now this is so easy. So it is just literally using some hot glue, and you're just going to trace the outline, and you just are going to place this down. Now I do use these little silicone finger protectors from Dollar Tree, which work perfectly for a project like this. Now the key to this is having some patience. You want to let that hot glue dry in between when you put your next layer on. So not layer, but your next area. So I'm coming down and just gluing down. So I want it to be halfway down before I add any of my in quotations, stuffing the little sack that I use. And what I'm going to do is just take this Dollar Tree sack, and I didn't know how much of it I was going to need, so I started with half of it. And again, you're going to let this snowflake be completely dry of glue, so you can use your finger to kind of stuff that up into the little points of your snowflake, so that way it looks, and you can use batting for this. You do not have to use a sack or anything. I just happen to have a ton of these that I use to stuff like my outdoor pillows with when I do pillows for my porch. And so I thought, well, I'll just stick it in here. It would be kind of a fun idea. So I'm just tying off some twine at the bottom there, and I'm going to glue that inside. So I'm going to tie that off and glue it here at the point where you're going to have it. This is going to be your top. And then just kind of fit in as much of the stuffing or batting or whatever it is that you're using that you want. And then you're just going to carefully use your glue and hot glue this up and seal all of the edges. Do remember to take your time with gluing these edges up though. It's not a race to get it done, and I feel like the little bit extra time that you're going to take on this is going to give it that really nice look, almost like it's stitched together rather than glued together. So just keep that in mind as you're doing this, is just take your time, go slow, and just wait for that. Like I said, the key is patience with this. Wait for that glue to dry before moving on to the next section, so you're not lifting up and you chance ruining your bond or ruining the fabric when you lift it up to glue the section. So just make sure each little section is completely dry before you move on to the next. How cute is this? I love how this turned out. And you could even cut different styles of fabric out to use to make your own. Their possibilities are endless with this. Now this ornament is kind of reminiscent of a star that I made for 4th of July, and I did mine red for 4th of July, but I thought it would be super cute to do a little mini one and then just do it in kind of a stained wood color. You could paint it to be any color that you wanted. There are several different versions of these that I have seen, and so I just thought it would be fun to kind of do one myself. So I'm just taking the 5 craft sticks. These are just kind of like the tongue depressor size that you get. I bought these on Amazon. I can leave a link down in my description box for you. But I laid them out to kind of get how I want my star. You could easily just use some hot glue right now and glue that all together, but I wanted a very rustic look, and so I thought it would be fun to use my little crocodile tool here that punches holes in like little thin pieces of wood like this and tie them together with some jute twine. So after I punch my holes in each of the ends, I just feed some twine through and then tie them off with a knot. And then just remember on your last point that you tie together, if you are tying them together, you are going to want to leave a piece of twine long enough to make a hanging element. If you glue this together, you can just tie some twine together and glue it onto the back. Now, I thought it would look really cute on each of these little braces where they're tied together, that it would be fun to glue a little bit of twine and wrap it around so it looked like the star was kind of held together with the twine. This would be completely optional. You could even wrap this around and tie it off in the back, and then you don't have so much of a hot glue mess on the back, because it did get a little bit clumpy as I went along. But again, if I position it correctly on the tree, you would never see that, but just kind of a heads up. But I thought it looked really cute and a little bit more rustic to add these to each of the little points. And then I do go in on some of the inside braces there, and I just glue it, do the same thing with those. To me, this is just the epitome of farmhouse Christmas. I love it. I think it looks so cute and so rustic. And really, this is a project so easy that anybody could do it. For this project, you're just going to need a frame, preferably a little bit of a smaller one because you're going to want to hang it from your tree, and then also 3 of the smaller sized craft sticks. Now I want my finish on these craft sticks to match the finish of my frame. So I took some antiquing wax. You could also take some watered down brown paint and give them a stain. And then I just dry brushed some white paint onto them. So now I'm going to remove the back of my frame, and I'm not going to need to put it back in, so I can put that aside to use for another project. And I just take some needle nose pliers to remove all of these little pokey bendy things, so that way nobody's going to hurt themselves on those. So to brighten up my frame, because the paint on my craft sticks was a little bit brighter than this, I really like that brighter color, so I am just dry brushing over the frame to kind of help match it. So now we're making a window frame, so I'm going to use the craft sticks to make the cross beams for my window. So my first stick I just cut down to match the horizontal cross beam there and get that kind of centered in the middle. So now I need to make the vertical cross beam. However, the craft sticks were too short to do one, so I had to do two. So I had to cut it down to size so that way I could glue two of these onto that middle cross beam. And here's what I mean. So see how that second stick will fit there as well? So you just need to make sure you have enough space to be able to glue both of them on there, and they will sit flush. So I'm just using some hot glue to glue these in as well. Now you can embellish your window any way that you would like. I'm just taking some spare little sprigs of evergreen and some eucalyptus that I have, and I'm just tying them together to make a little swag. And then I also have this cute little cardinal ornament that I've had for so long I don't even know where I got it from. And so it possibly even came from Dollar Tree. I have no idea, but I'm just going to glue that onto the bottom because I thought that was super cute. And I have seen so many on Pinterest like this, like windows. You could even make a big one out of a big frame to make a great big display with. Would be absolutely darling. And you could also put a back in here with a really beautiful wintry picture that would be cute as well. I wanted you to see the lights from my Christmas tree since I'm making an ornament out of this, so I chose to leave mine open. And I did just put a little twine bow at the top of my swag, and now I just tied off some of the twine to make my little hanging element, and I'm just going to use some hot glue to glue that on. And I just looped it around and tied a double knot into the bottom, and then just with some hot glue, and then after it dries I go in and reinforce it. And then looking at my cross beams, I decided to put a little bit of hot glue there to reinforce that also. Look at how absolutely beautiful and cute this is, and it was so easy. I absolutely love how this turned out. Don't forget that I'm on Instagram also. I love to meet new Insta friends, so I would love for you to come over and say hi, check out my page, and see all the latest projects that I'm working on. I'll be sure and leave a link down in my description box so you can easily find me. I have this little joy ornament from Dollar Tree, some craft paper, and then I did buy a whole bunch of these round ornaments at a garage sale or yard sale that I went to. But I know you can find things like this at Dollar Tree and at Hobby Lobby, Walmart. So whatever you've got on hand will work. And I'm just using some of my Elmer's school glue, and I just will put the glue all over the front of this ornament right here. And then I will just turn it over onto the craft paper. And then to make sure that craft paper is adhered really good and you get a really good bond, I'm using my Mod Podge roller. You could even use like a gift card or credit card or Cricut scraper, something to just kind of make sure that you get a very good bond between the paper and that ornament. And then I don't really need to do this where I go around with my fingers on the craft paper, but for some reason I thought I did, I don't know. But you just basically follow around the shape of your item, and any shape you could do this in. And I'm just going to cut the paper around, and then once I get this all cut out, I will take my file. You can use whatever type of sandpaper works for you. I just use a fingernail file, and in a downward motion you're going to file downward. You can kind of see here, and that will make a very crisp and clean and clear edge for you, so it looks like the paper was literally cut out to go on this form. Now I just take some green because I thought that would match the best. You could do whatever color you want, but you do want to put a little bit of paint around the edge because this just finishes it off and makes it look so nice and so high-end. And now it's time for my secret question for the giveaway. I would love to know if you guys change your tree ornaments every year, or if you leave it the same and decorate your tree the same every year. So make sure you comment down in the comments and let me know if you change your tree up every year or if you leave it the same. I kind of do a mixture of both. I kind of pick my favorite ornaments and sometimes I might change it up a little bit. So now I'm just taking this little joy sign from Dollar Tree, this little ornament, and I'm just putting some hot glue on the back and just centering it to glue it on there. This just kind of pluses this cute little ornament from Dollar Tree, which was cute in and of itself, but this just kind of gives it that little extra oomph. And then I just reused the tie that came with it. You could glue a completely new one on the back if you needed to, or just whatever to use for your hanging element. And then this is done, and look at how cute it looks. I love to use a little bit bigger ornaments like this to kind of fill in the gaps on my tree. I love how this turned out. I have these little tags that I purchased in a set from Hobby Lobby. I think you can find them at any craft store though. I just found them in the wood section and they came in a package with maybe 7 to 10 of these little tags. But I'm going to take one and paint it black, and then I'm going to paint the other one white. Now I have these little wooden snowflakes. You can find them at any craft store. I've seen them at Walmart. Dollar Tree I know has little wooden stickers. They may even have different sizes of little wooden snowflakes as well that you could use. Whatever you have will work. It doesn't even have to be snowflakes, but I'm just going for an opposites look here. So I'm going to paint one snowflake white, one snowflake black, and then I'm going to attach them to their opposite tone. I just looped some jute twine through the hole at the top of these tags to give them their little hanging element, and I did lose the footage of me gluing these snowflakes on, but it is as easy as it sounds. I just used the gel super glue on the back and then glued the snowflake onto their opposite tone. I just felt like the hot glue, if I used that, would kind of seep through all those delicate areas, so I felt super glue was the best match. But look at how absolutely adorable these are. I think a lot of them hanging from a tree would look so cute. They would even make perfect gift tags for presents. I would like to thank you so much for watching me make these Pinterest-inspired ornaments today. I truly hope this inspires you to get out there and create some magic for your holiday season. Don't forget to click the link in my description box to take you to the playlist to watch all of the other creators' Pinterest-inspired DIYs. And don't forget to answer their secret questions to enter that giveaway. You only need to answer the questions in the Pinterest-inspired videos. As always, I would like to remind you to be safe, be smart, be nice, be happy. Choose to have a good day because you are amazing. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time, guys. Happy holidays. If you enjoyed the video that you just saw, here's another one that you might enjoy. And as always, remember to like and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching and have an amazing day.